What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of The Opinion here. And I want to get into this and talk about it. I've been meaning to talk about this for a while. And in the world of boxing, what we have on the horizon, or really it's here, but we're still at the very, very beginning stages. We've got a war in boxing between companies. And one company on one side with Zuffa, who was obviously ran by Dana White. Dana White, we know what he's done in UFC. Zuffa's over at Paramount. And then really we've got DAZN. Now, I know what you're thinking here. Zuffa is a boxing promotional company and DAZN is a streaming platform. And so really when I say DAZN, I'm really talking about PBC, Golden Boy, Top Rank, Matchroom, and you might as well throw Queensberry in there as well. And so essentially, we are at the very, very beginning stages of a war between the legacy and the more traditional boxing companies or promotional companies and Zuffa, who is this new entity that wants to come in and really change how we think about boxing in a lot of ways. And really what you have is that on one side, it's almost like Zuffa and Dana White. They are Thanos. They are coming in. They're in the very early stages. So they're Thanos without any of the Infinity Stones right now. And then you've got the Avengers because, you know, on the side that was the Avengers, you had PBC, which was on Showtime, and then Amazon Prime. You had Top Rank, which was on ESPN. And then you had Golden Boy and Matchroom. They were on DAZN. So the legacy promoters really were not all on the same network for years. And now they've all joined up together on the same network, all on DAZN, similar to the Avengers. And they're going up against Thanos, who is Zuffa Boxing, that has a lot of money backing when you talk about with the connection with Turki Al-Sheikh. We know what Dana White's done in the UFC. And so we're at the very beginning stages of this. And so you want to subscribe here because I'm going to be making ongoing videos about this boxing war amongst the companies because we're at the very beginning stages. So let's kind of break things down. So with Zuffa wants to come in and they really want to reimagine boxing, reimagine the way we see boxing. And if Dana White has it his way, Dana White wants to transform boxing and make boxing similar to the way we think about the UFC. And here's why. When we think about MMA, we think about the UFC. Heck, whenever we're really meaning to reference mixed martial arts, we just say UFC because that's how dominant UFC has been within the sport of MMA. And that's what Dana wants to do when it comes to Zuffa Boxing. He wants people to think about the best come from Zuffa. The champions come from Zuffa. Zuffa has their own belt. And much like in MMA, whoever holds the UFC championship belt, that is who we think of as the champion. All these champions from PFL, there was a league called Bellator before that, and some of these other mixed martial arts leagues that have championships, we really don't think about those individuals as champions. And so if Dana has it his way in the not too distant future, or maybe in the distant future, Dana has it his way, whoever holds the Zuffa boxing belt, Dana wants the audience and the audience of people and the fans to think of that person as the guy. Whoever holds the WBC, the WBA, the WBO, the IBF, the alphabet belts is what people like to say. People will just kind of think of those guys as like, yeah, such and such holds the WBC belt, but nah, that person's not the best. Whoever's number one at Zuffa, that person is the best. And that is what the legacy boxing companies, they want to fight against that. And so now they've joined up all together. And now they've joined up all together and they're essentially on DAZN now. And so now you've got DAZN versus Paramount or DAZN versus Zuffa. And so really what you have is that right now, because the legacy boxing companies have been around for longer, DAZN's actually putting on better cards right now. They're putting on better cards, better main events. Zuffa, they're kind of just getting started, which, I mean, no shot against Zuffa, but Zuffa's just getting started. Their cards are, lower level cards. Now, they do have the Ryan Garcia and the Conor Benn fight coming up. And Ryan Garcia is not part of Zuffa. He's part of Golden Boy. So, and I'm going to touch on that here in a little bit. But they do have that, but that's more of just a one-off. But Zuffa doesn't really have a lot of top-notch cards. They are starting to sign some top-notch talent, such as Shakur Stevenson, Richardson Hitchens, and others. But as of right now, for the most part, Zuffa's boxing cards are going to be a little bit lower level, probably more on the showcase fights. Showcase fights on the level of what you would see with Pro Box TV. DAZN's going to have DAZN in their package. DAZN's going to have higher level fights, and then also DAZN's partnered with TNT to give you once a month a free fight on TNT True TV once a month. So far they've had 2. Those cards have been pretty good. Thus far. So with DAZN, you are paying more though. DAZN, they just announced that, hey, they're raising their price. They were $29.99. Now they're raising their price to $34.99. And then they also have a package that's a bit higher than that includes all of the pay-per-views. I think that's for about $49 or $50 or something like that as well. Meanwhile, with Zuffa, they're on Paramount. Now, Paramount is an app that involves more than just sports. It's original content, original shows, movies. And Paramount, I believe, costs $7.99 or somewhere in there. Maybe a little bit more. I may have my prices off. But Paramount is a lot cheaper as well. And with Paramount, there is no tier for pay-per-view. Everything that's on Paramount will stay on Paramount for the price that you pay. So it's a little bit of give and take. Price-wise, Zuffa's beating it. I mean, hey, who wouldn't want to pay less? But quality-wise, DAZN is giving you more quality, and they're giving you one free fight via TNT on TV every month as well. So DAZN right now, obviously they've been in operation of doing boxing for a little bit longer. DAZN's got them right now. But like I said, that's because Zuffa is new. But where do you guys see this thing going? Because this war is different than other wars that we've seen between boxing promotional companies, and here's why. We've seen where Oscar didn't want to work with Top Rank. Where Golden Boy didn't want to work with Top Rank. Where PBC didn't want to work with Top Rank. We've seen these things. We've seen where Oscar and Eddie Hearn threw shots back at each other. But that was more so just a Cold War. This is not a Cold War because obviously, like I said, Ryan Garcia is fighting on a Zuffa. He's fighting on Paramount. So Ryan Garcia is fighting Conor Benn, who's a Zuffa fighter. So I don't think this is going to be a deal where Dana will absolutely not, make fights with guys from legacy boxing promotional companies with the help of Turki Al-Sheikh. I don't think that this is that at all. Zuffa and Dana White, they want to ultimately change the landscape of boxing and like I said, how we see boxing. And so, like I said, you want to subscribe here because I'm going to be making videos as things change. And the reason I thought it was important to come out and make this video because DAZN just went up on their pricing. And if they went up now, they're probably going to go up again in the future. And so with everything that I've laid out, how do you see this conflict between the promoters, between Zuffa and DAZN and the war? How do you see this thing shaping up 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? Like I said, we're in the early stages, and the thing is, fans have taken their side. Some fans like what Zuffa's doing, and they're waving their pom poms for Dana White, and other fans other fans are more traditional. They like the traditional, the legacy companies that are represented by the legacy belts, WBC, WBO, and what have you. But how do you see this conflict shaking out when it comes to Zuffa versus DAZN? Only time will tell. I think right now DAZN's got it. That's just my opinion. I think DAZN's got it right now. They're going to have it for, probably the next year or two. But then after that, what happens? Because Zuffa is constantly trying to sign talent. I'm pretty sure they've reached out to Hank Davis. They're probably going to reach out to David Benavidez. They're going to reach out to everybody once their contracts come up and once these guys are free agents. So how do you guys see this shaking out? Do you think Zuffa will ultimately change the way we think about boxing? Do you think Zuffa will just ultimately just be another promoter? What will happen to the legacy companies? Will the legacy companies fade away? where, not meaning that they go away entirely, but the way that we think about them, or the way the next generation of fans think about them, or the next generation of fans think about the legacy companies, the way that we think about Bellator and PFL and some of these other promotional companies as it relates to the UFC. Are we going to think about that in boxing? So leave your comments down below. Hit that subscribe button if you like this series. This is just part one, because I'm going to be making more videos as new developments happen in this war between Zuffa Boxing and ultimately DAZN. Leave your comments below, subscribe, and other than that, I'm out.